Hola chicos, I'm going to explain your homework in a video today. So here's what I need you to do. You've got 2 items for homework. They're going to work on your goals for using tener and new vocabulary to talk about your family, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to complete Unit 3 class blog El Verbo Tener. So even though we're in Chapter 2 on Blackboard, it's Unit 3, so you want to keep that in mind, okay? So let's look at the instructions for this audio blog. You're going to choose words from each column. So this is one column, our subjects or our verbers, and this is another column, the predicate, okay, or the details of our sentence. And you're going to create complete sentences. Well, if our blog is named El Verbo Tener, what verb do you think we should use for the blog? Yeah, obviously we're going to use tener, okay? So do not use ser on this blog because that's not what I'm assessing on you. So the second thing is, obviously, number 2, it says to use the correct form of tener. Well, how do we know what the correct form is? Well, as we look at the subjects, the first one we actually can see is done in the example for us. And that's why it's so critical to always look at the example. So we have La Familia Ochoa. Well, it's just one family. So are we going to be singular or plural? I'm going to put my money on singular because there's only one family. There might be multiple members in the family, but that's irrelevant. There's one family. So if it's one family, it's not gonna be yo, right? It's not going to be tú because we're not speaking to them. We're talking about them. So it has to go in box number 3, that él, ella, and usted box. So the right conjugation for that is tiene, and that's done right there in the example for you. So you're going to want to make sure to use the right form of tener. Mis amigos. Well, I could replace my friends with they, right? My friends are cool. They are cool. So they're going to be in box 6. We know we're yo and tú. La casa is like an it. And we know it goes in the same box as the he, she, and usted. Okay? And then finally, mi familia y yo. This one's a bit of a trickster, but we want to remember when we see the y yo, I remember this way. Anyone plus me is we. So it's my family and I. That's plural because it's my family and I. That's 2 groups of people or 2 people. And then obviously I'm included in it, so it has to be a we. So I would say nosotros, and that correct form would be tenemos. So you're going to want to have your tener verb chart handy. So that's the first thing. You're going to record those sentences that you're going to create with those 2 columns. My suggestion is to write a script first to make sure you have the right pronunciation. Remember, you're going to say tiene when it's that él, ella, or usted, right? You have to pronounce all the vowels in the verb. So that's your first project. That is on Blackboard. You're going to submit it on Blackboard. Your second piece of homework for this day is going to be submitted physically on Friday when you come in. So it's actually a very, very tiny project. Today we practice creating a family tree in class, and you're going to do the same. So this is Proyecto Mi Árbol Genealógico. So in the PDF that I've attached, you'll see these instructions, and you're going to draw a family tree just like we did in class, but this time it will be fancier. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's read the details. This is worth 5 points in your project and quiz grade. You know that's one of your categories, project quiz. So you definitely want to do this, and you definitely want to do it on time. You have to include 10 vocab words as a minimum, just like we did today in class. And yes, primo and prima, for this activity, we're going to count them as 2 different words, okay? So this can be done by hand or on the computer, whatever you want to do. Honestly, I think it's easier to do it by hand, personally. Because to do it on the computer, if you're using Microsoft Word, for example, it takes forever to format this smart chart correctly. I think it's just easier to use the other one. But whatever way you do it, you are turning it in physically. I repeat, you are turning it in physically. You are not going to email it to me under any circumstances. Printer broke, print it at school. Whatever's going on, print it at school. Something else isn't working out, okay? If your printer's broke, maybe you should just do it by hand. I am asking that it is colored, okay? And so that is maybe where doing it on the computer might be easier. If you wanted to include photos, I think that would be spectacular, okay? But I'm not going to require that of you. So below I have a small example of what a 4 would look like, okay? So this is pretty straightforward. It's not too intense. I have, obviously you guys know my family is much larger than this, but I have a scaled down version of my family tree. So here I have yo. You need to identify yourself, and you are going to be yo. You're not going to be me. You're not going to be me, so make sure it is a yo. Then I have my siblings. So I have hermano and hermana. In my family tree, I've color-coded the girls as green and the guys as purple, with one exception. I'll talk about her in a second. So I have hermano and hermana. That's 2 words. I have my mamá and papá. That's 4 words. Or you could put madre and padre, whatever you prefer. The heart obviously signifies that they're married, okay? I have abuelo and abuela. There's 6. Tío and tía. Now we're at 8. I put my tía Claudia, I put her in yellow because she married into the family. Everybody else on this, I'm related to by blood, okay? Below my aunt and uncle, they have my primo and my prima. So there's 10 words. Easy peasy. Remember, I need to see the relationship. So whatever you draw your family tree on, if your lines do not convey the relationships, then you're not completing the assignment. I need to understand how the tree works, okay? The other thing you're definitely gonna want to keep in mind as you draw this is that, are you showing the generations correctly? So, for example, I have my cousins and my siblings and we're all in the same generation, so we should all be on the same line. Above us are the aunts and uncles in my family, which would include my mom and dad. And above them are the grandparents, okay? So you want to make sure that it's clear how the family and the descendants are working, okay? Those relationships need to be clear as well as labeled, all right? Again, whatever your personal family situation is fine. I need you to show me you know the vocab. So if that means you talk to me about The Simpsons, talk to me about The Simpsons, whatever you want to do, okay? And that's all you have to do to get those 5 points in your project grade. It has to be colored though. Please don't forget that, okay? If you have any questions, shoot me an email. But I think it's pretty straightforward. It's similar to what we did in class, all right? You'll bring that ready on Friday. Good luck.